I'll train you right to spin fire. The NFT analyzer, diving deep into projects. He's the crypto energizer. From your meme coins to tokens, he's got all the intel. Web3 is a tree to show you where to excel. He's got the insights like a digital magician.
Good morning, boys. Mega GMs. Man, welcome to 2026. First show of the year. First show of I don't know. This is gonna be a different kind of year. I can feel it already, and I don't know. I'm feeling there's a lot of changes coming this year. Good changes. Some changes that might not feel good at first, but they're putting you on the right path. There's a lot of changes coming. That I feel for sure. Gravere, dude. Holy cow. Hey, New Year brings out some like old friends. Holy cow, man. Been a long time. I feel like over the past like week or so, we've seen some like, old familiar faces. Real cool, man. How was your guys' night? How was your New Year's Eve celebrations? And CJ, good morning to you. First at 26. I love it, dude. I love it. Hoods is here. Good morning, brother. Luna, good morning. So cool. I hope everybody's New Year's Eve was awesome. Celebrations, whatever. I made it up till midnight for the first time in years, man. Years. I have a cool story for you guys too, like really cool. It's one of those like what it is never stop clicking, never unplug. I have a win to start the year already. I'm talking like in the market and a pretty damn big win. And it's just to show you show up and you do the stuff even when maybe market's not great and opportunities don't feel like they are. You never know when they're going to come. And I'm excited because this is a big win. I got to pull a rabbit out of my ass to make it work, but it's a big win. And it's one of those like automatic wins. Luna's got a new PFP. Hang on. Let me see. Wait. You changed your handle. Hang on. Let me pull this up and I'll throw it on the screen. What, dude? Hang on. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Are you trolling these guys or what are you doing? Luna's our like lighter maxi, and all of a sudden he's got a hyper liquid little tag in his handle. What are we doing, man? I love it. New Year's Eve chill. I like it, man. Good, cool. I love it. We what did we do? Dude, I love that. Oh, I want to make that a tradition. I'm going to do that personally myself. I used to do that once a year too, but I like doing it on January 1st. I don't have any real resolutions this year. I was going to do no fast food and I get on the treadmill every day, but I want to like hit that harder. And, there's just some things I was gonna like, New Year's resolution. I don't like locking into that. My resolution always, this doesn't change. And I don't usually do it on New Year's Day. I do it on my birthday, but like I resolved to myself that I'm going to get better. That's it. Just get better. That's it. The constant pursuit of just getting better. And that should be a daily thing. I feel like I lost track of that a bit last year, and I'm happy enough with last year, but I wasn't where I was at a few years back for sure. And I hate that maybe it's like goes along with the market. It needs to not. It's discipline should keep you on that path always. So I have no New Year's resolutions. I'm curious if you guys do, but for me, it's really locking in and saying, get better at all costs, and think about that a lot. It's actually easier. It's easier to do than you think. It's you got to constantly remind yourself everything you're doing. You need to stop and think, is this the right decision? Is this making me better? Right? It's kind of that simple. There you go. It's funny, but like you start with small things. What can you do? And they just snowball. And it's just, again, for me, the big unlock was it boils down to really simple things. If you stop at every decision, and I mean it, every decision, what's the right decision? And is this better than the other decision, right? It's but it's discipline. That's what it is. All right, so I want to tell you guys real quick, and we can keep going with this for a bit too. This show's gonna be weird, like, right? We're gonna continue our 2025 year in review, and it's funny how a day makes all the difference. Like, as in, it's January 1st, 2026, and already I'm like, who cares? Who cares about reviewing anything from last year at this point? You know? But I got to do it because I like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So we're doing it. Content creation compared to trading difficulty levels so high. Yeah, JWise, it's not easy. JWise, wait, I know you make content. Hang on, I don't have I ever pulled up your YouTube. I want to check you out real quick here, and I want to tell you guys the win. It's a big one, man. It's like Luna's like lighter win. It's pretty fucking big. JWise Adventure. Let me see if that's your channel. Oh, dude, yeah, here you go. Dude, cool shit. Look at our bro JWise here. Dude, badass. You got 52,000 subs, bro. Get the fuck out. Dude, come on. That's so cool. Is that this is your new one? Dude, get the fuck out. This is so cool. So what kind of content were you making? Like what is it's anime? Like anime review stuff? Dude, cool shit. Bro, you're a badass. That's awesome. Dude, there's so many yeah, I don't know. There's just so many cool people here in crypto. Like there just are like so many cool, talented people. Dude, that's awesome. And I always like for me, it's always like it's just cool when there's somebody who like I don't know. I think it's cool anybody even watches what I do. And then it's extra cool when I see somebody who does, like does the thing too. That anybody would waste time hanging here is just cool. It's cool, man. Um it's I mean, there's so much competition in content, right? And it's hard to make stuff like engaging and it's hard. I don't know. It isn't. It isn't. It's another one of those things I think we overthink it too. But there is a game to it, and part of it's like, boy, you really got to be locked in to make the content thing work, right? Like you really got to be locked in. There's so many sides to it that people like. If you don't do it, you don't know all the things you got to think about and get right, and how like even like the thumbnail stuff and there's like a psychology to it, how you get people to even look, and there's a lot. There's a lot. You guys should sub to JWise though. Let's support the man here. Dude, so cool. So freaking cool. I'm gonna circle back to that and start watching that up today. Whatever, dude. I mean, I know it doesn't matter, but we will. Your passion's trading crypto. Dude, that's awesome. We'll stick with it. And how long have you been doing crypto, JWise? Stick with it, and then you've got I want to dig into your content, but like you've got an interesting angle for content then. Look, there's a lot of crypto content creators, and at the same time, there's not, right? 22. All right, cool. There is and there isn't, right? There's a lot of people in crypto who it feels like there's like an infinite number of crypto content creators, but there's not. And I'll tell you this, I think there's not a lot of good ones. I don't think there's a lot of quality. I think there's like, I see still huge opportunity in crypto content. Huge. All right, let me share my win. And actually, just like yesterday, we're gonna have to go quick because we got our morning meeting, and yes, working on New Year's Day, and that's just what we do, and it's what I do. And look, I mean, no days off, none. I haven't had a day off in almost 5 years. I think it might be a little longer, and it's holidays and it's whatever, and I'm not proud of that. That's like a necessary thing for me. You know what I mean? Like have to. But yeah, that's why we do the show like this. Okay, now I am going to say this. I've been saying it here and there and whatever. I think the streak is going to come to an end this year. Hang on, let's put crypto spaces up too. I know I've looked at yours before. Crypto spaces. My streak, right? I've done a how am I not subbed? I know I've seen your show before. I've done a video or a stream every day for 2.5 years, right? That streak is, I'm pretty sure, like I would bet money. I'd bet a lot of money. That's going to come to an end this year, and it might come to an end like early this year. And I'll say this, there's a chance like what we do, like covering stories, news, whatever, that might actually come to an end too, which I don't love, but I'm thinking like really long and hard about like, oh, okay, same thing. Okay, cool. All right, that makes sense. Dude, good shit. Dude, real cool. All right, well, sub to this one for sure. Go to Crypto Spaces, subscribe there. Um, yeah, I think, look, what I do this year, I got to be super intentional, and I need to do things that make me grow and help Crypto Slam grow. And this show is awesome, and again, I appreciate people who tune in and watch. I need it to grow. I need it to grow, and I need our new stuff to grow. And look, I'll say this: Self Shill, ethoswarm.ai. I'm telling you, boys, get on the whitelist. This is something that I believe, I really believe this, that you guys would use and that you guys would love. And that applies to anything you do. So I said this yesterday, and when I say it, I know it sounds like hyperbole. I know it does. I know it does. But it's not. I'm blown away by this thing. I'll say this, like, and it's exactly what I said yesterday. It is, I think, the most delightful AI product I've ever used. And it sounds, again, it sounds hyperbolic, and it's not. And when I was first told about it and it was explained to me, I didn't get it. And then I got my hands on it. And I just can't speak on it and what it even is yet. But when I got my hands on it, I'm like, holy fuck, it works. Like this thing that was told to me and explained to me, I didn't kind of buy it at first. And when I used it, I'm like, holy fuck. I've not seen anything else out there like it. I think it's my go-to AI everything now. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it's ours. But okay. Sign up here. Coming really soon. Sign up. I really want you guys to try this when it comes out. I think you're going to think about AI in a different way, and you'll see. You'll see. Again, you'll see. All right, quick win. You guys, can I do my quick win? By the way, we're live all the spots: Abstract, X, Kick, Zora, Retake, everywhere. Come to YouTube, subscribe over here. It's Crypto Slam. It's Crypto Slam over on YouTube. All right. Quick win. Do you guys remember I was talking about that new X copy edition? I'm like, if you have an X copy, get in the raffle, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I got in the raffle, no expectations. Well, I won that whitelist. I won that raffle. I think there were like 6 spots given away or 5 spots. Won the raffle. It's an X copy, like 42 edition, right? They're expensive mint. It might be a problem, but dude, offers on the piece already for just about 7 ETH. The floor is going to be much higher. It's probably more like a 10 ETH secondary, and it's going to be pretty liquid. The other pieces in that collection have basically like a 18 to 20 ETH floor, maybe even like 22. That's just X copy. That's how that works. And it's why I said last week, you know, it's one of those things, you enter the raffle no matter what. And if you land it, you find a way to mint the thing. Because it ain't cheap. It's 3.3 ETH. I'm going to have to pull a rabbit out of my ass and find a way to come up with 3.3 ETH. So that's going to be the tricky part, but you lock in the whitelist first and you sell everything, hopefully, to be able to mint it. But there's the win. And the point there was, we start the year and maybe it's a what, $30,000 win. You never know when those come. You never know. They come when you're not expecting it. I'm not expecting to win it. I didn't think there was going to be a raffle. I especially didn't think I'd win the raffle. It's why you never unplug. I have had some of my biggest wins during the most bearish times, right? I've had an FX hash piece that I flipped for 48 grand, somewhere around there. Came when not expecting it. Had no expectations. I listed it crazy high, just thinking it would never happen. Happened. Changed my year. This, if I can end up getting it, and we flip it right, sets me up for a really nice, start to the year. It's going to help with some things that are coming. It's going to be a tricky year. I know this, but again, the point, Never unplug. Like, right, you don't, because those wins do happen here and they happen all the time, and it's awesome shit. All right, so I'll get that figured out somehow, some way, but I'm excited. It's a good start to my year, and you guys are going to get those all year long too. I know for sure. I know for sure. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yep. You know what this is, by the way? Last comment, then we got to move to our review stuff. Content feels easy compared to trading. I, you know why I never felt like trading feels hard? It's because I don't trade. Right? Like that's why. For me, NFTs was like the bulk of my trading. And for me, NFTs are like so easy, right? They're to me, it's just like this. They kind of just happen. And they happen if you have a good like instinct for like aesthetics, right? Like what people like, what they're gonna click on. I have a good feel for rarity because since I was a kid, collectibles and stuff, right? I don't trade. I'll buy a meme coin, but I don't consider that trading. I'm not sitting there trading the chart. I'm buying it because I think it's cool and early and whatever, and I sell it when right. So easy. But if you're a trader, that's a different thing, and that is not as easy, dude. Not as easy. So, all right. Follow us at Slam Nation X on X, of course, Crypto Slam IO also on X, and then for the last time here, but it's Ethos Swarm on X. If you're a Swarm token holder, GG's. And then again, come here, sign up, just enter your email, sign up, and be ready for this. It's so freaking cool. Now, let's get to our year in review. Just know that all of this is being sourced from our weekly newsletter. It's called NFTs on Deck. It really needs to be renamed. But go to our link tree, subscribe here. Newsletter goes out next week, right? Boom. There you go. There you go. Luna, you can probably unstake at this point, man. And you're awesome. I appreciate you, Luna. I think, Luna, I really believe this. I think you're gonna love what's coming. I think you're gonna love it. I'm blown the fuck away. I am. I hope it makes you proud as a swarm holder, All right, let's hit it. Again, I'm behind. So what we're doing is continuing on from yesterday, week by week, reviewing last year. Maybe we get to predictions for next year, maybe not. We'll see. But we're going to continue. We left off June, what is it? June 24th. So we had just come off of like war fears the prior year, watching for rate cuts, Genius Act getting set for its final vote. On to the next week here, and it's still... Actually, I think did we touch on this one? Actually, hang on. I think we're a little further here. No, we're in the right spot. Okay. It's more Iran, U.S. fears. This is when we bombed their nuclear facility. So this is the week of that, just to help set it up. Bitcoin takes a hit. War fears, right? 98K Bitcoin here. Same week, we have Bored Apes launching their NFT stickers. I feel like we talked about these, but quick sellout, Telegram sticker meta, hot. Everybody launching them, right? Doodles, Claynosaurus launched, Azuki had launched. So a lot of that. Yeah, dude, we did this, didn't we? I think we covered this one already. Anyway, the Genius Act passed, I believe the Senate here had to move to the House, but the Genius Act, we had Virtual's AC. Yeah, we did do this week. Virtual's ACP. Rumors said it was going to be launching imminently. It launched shortly after. And then the NSFW thing on Virtuals. Again, I'm pretty damn sure we hit this already. So on to the next week. This is where things start getting, for me, really interesting. You have like advisors, these finance gurus, I guess. Rick Edelman, though, saying the old system of 60-40, like kind of an allocation, dead. Calling for, I remember this too really clearly, calling for 10 to 40% of your portfolio being allocated to crypto. Like crazy things. And this is where it's like things are changing when you have guys like that talking about crypto the way they are now. It's no longer this like pure gambling degen thing. There's like substance there. Crypto Spaces, dude, appreciate you. The benefits of the Genius Act, that's the stablecoin legislation. So that's what, it's going to require, stable coins to be backed by treasuries. That's the biggest thing. It makes them officially non-securities, right? It's stuff like that. It's basically the guardrails for stable coins. What I didn't realize though is it doesn't really go into effect till next year, beginning of next year. So it's passed, its law, whatever, but implementation, whatever that looks like and means, is not yet. Still, everybody's like, this is going to be this is a big year for stablecoins. That will be one of the biggest, stories, metas this year, and there's going to be plays there too. Which, when we get to predictions, we'll have some takes on how you play stablecoins. We had the U.S. housing chief ordering Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to allow crypto as a mortgage asset. I guess maybe as collateral, which was big. This week, Genius Act and Clarity Act were both in the House. So the Clarity Act, I believe, originated in the House. The Genius in the Senate, it was moving on to the House for, its final vote. Whereas the Clarity Act started in the House. Right now, it's in the Senate. It's not going to pass, but yeah. Animoca announced Mocha Chain. Big milestone from them. I will probably be covering Animoca more going forward. So just a heads up there. Virtuals added their voting for agents. Remember that? So the weekly, kind of, was it point distribution or was it tokens? I think it was points distribution goes to the top voted agents. So that was a big change for them. Robinhood announced tokenized U.S. stocks. So SpaceX, they said, and OpenAI, and it caused some controversy there because OpenAI said their stocks will not be trading over there. So it was interesting. Kraken launched a new money app called Crack. That was this week. I haven't heard anything about that actually recently. FX Hash launched their art tokens. So they had just updated their platform, but they launched their art tokens where artists launch a new collection. It creates a fungible token with it, and you buy their piece in that fungible token, which a lot of controversy. A lot of these artists do not like, they don't like the meme coin stuff, and they feel like it dirties their work. So, and it, by the way, it didn't play out super well for them, at least so far. And then the other side announced details of their mini games, right? Their gaming events, but also when the metaverse will open. We already had the date, but announcing again, doors open full time coming up just a few weeks after. Crazy. Summer was kind of funny, slow and busy at the same time, right? On to the second week of July? No, I guess it's still the first full week. Virtual's ACP officially launches July 8th. Might have been a few days before, but this week, Virtual's ACP goes live. Some hype around it, but I mentioned yesterday, there was a much bigger plan for the announcement, the rollout, the whatever. They kind of set expectations a lot lower, right? They said, hey, we're 1999 of the internet days, right? It wasn't going to be that. It was going to be a big old campaign, a big old marketing push. And I think they just realized its limitations early enough. They're like, okay, if we do that, it's gonna underwhelm. Yeah, it was interesting to see how that played out. We had the Pump token public sale go live. Probably the biggest thing that happened that week. But man, you think how many big things happen in a week? It's again the public sale for Pump, ACP launching. That public sale, by the way, crazy. Ultimately, and I think we cover this in the next week's newsletter, but sold out really quick. Now, at the same time, remember, Pump Fund started getting competition. We had the Bonk ecosystem flip the Pump Fund ecosystem for the first time here. Total volume, I believe it was, but volume-wise, the Bonk ecosystem was cooking at this point. And, of course, people looked at Pump Fund tokens different right then, too. We had a big scare this week. A big one. Big one. We saw one of the biggest total, amount of Bitcoin moved, right? It was a massive number. It was a record, basically a record amount of Bitcoin that was being transacted, not sold, but just moved. It was 80,000 Bitcoin were transferred. $8 billion worth. One of the largest, Bitcoin transactions or movements we had ever seen. And I think that comes up here a little bit later, but wild to think 80,000 Bitcoin when it was initially purchased, $210,000 at this point. Almost $9 billion. The largest individual transfer of Bitcoin ever. Those are the little stories that like color the year, right? It's not a milestone. It's not something we'll ever read about in the, blockchain history books. But for us, it like colors the year. Those were things that caught our attention, which was cool. OpenSea acquired Rally. Azuki announced Studio Azuki, and Moonbirds dropped some stickers on Telegram. It's got just so much stuff going on. All right, on to the second. Here's the second real week of July. We were looking forward to hear the Clarity Act and anti-CBDC and the Genius Act being voted on that week. It was also called Crypto Week. I don't know if people remember this, but the entire blockchain was calling it Crypto Week. And you had everybody, all the biggest names, brands, whatever, in Web3 rocking Pudgy Penguin PFPs, for Crypto Week. And it was centered around those big votes. So a lot of energy, a lot of good vibes, and Bitcoin hit an all-time high during Crypto Week, 122,000, which now we know in hindsight, that was pretty close to the top. Pretty close, but all-time high for Bitcoin. Bitcoin flips Amazon to become the 5th largest asset in the world. We're hearing stories similar to that now with silver, but it was Bitcoin's turn back then. And the pump pre-sale in the books, over $600 million raised. Sold out, I had written down in 12 minutes, but I think it was way faster. Am I remembering right that there was like an error on the site? It actually sold out probably in seconds. And then we had 8Fest tickets. And then Azuki, more Telegram stickers. A lot of those stickers. Yeah, I feel like the Pump Fund pre-sale sold out in like seconds, not 12 minutes. All right. We then get talk the following week about a new executive order coming from Trump that opens up retirement plans access to crypto. So this came from a spokesman at the White House saying Trump could sign an executive order. And by the way, he ultimately did. I think we get to that at some point, but huge. This is like trillions and trillions of dollars that now have the green light to get exposure to crypto. Big deal. Big deal. That's one of those stories I think it got some attention, but I think is actually a much bigger deal, especially in 26 here. A much bigger deal that I think does have impact in the market. We're talking again about a percentage, but a percentage of trillions that is coming to crypto. And by the way, when they're buying it, they're really not selling it. They're really not selling it. Paul Atkins said this week, ETH is not a security. Those little things matter. The Genius Act this week was officially signed into law. So the prior week passed the House. Now finally signed into law. And at that point, all eyes then on the Clarity Act, the anti-CBDC bill, the market structure bill, all of which I don't believe have passed. By the way, I saw, God, I'll have to bring this up when we chat about it maybe tomorrow. I saw, I think, Marjorie Taylor Greene and a couple others talking about the Genius Act and saying it's bad for you, it's bad for privacy, and that a lot of stuff going on right now with crypto is secretly very anti what we wanted it to be. It's interesting that stuff's heating back up again, right? Like, I'm getting a little worried about the regulation stuff. And maybe I don't need to be, but I am a little bit. We had Base this week reveal their Base app, and they opened it up for a beta. But that was our first look at the Base app. Brian Armstrong that week made his first content coin. So these guys, again, really leaning into content stuff. By the way, Brian Armstrong just met with Thread Guy, right? Thread Guy made that pretty viral video saying why content coins don't work and he would never buy one. Well, Brian Armstrong met with him. They had video call, whatever. And he got all his feedback. Why don't they work? What should they do? How can we make it work? And that's awesome, man. That's the kind of stuff we need, is not ego, right? But like actually the PVE work together. Nobody's too big to learn from a guy like Thread Guy, who's big, right? Of course, but nobody's too big to learn from other people here. There's such smart people. And, I say this a lot. You better be listening to Thread Guy. Nobody's got his finger on the pulse of that generation and has an understanding of the market like that. I'm not saying he's a market expert, But I am saying there's nobody with his skills on the content side that knows the market like he does. And again, just like the vibe, the connection, like different dude. You better listen to him, you know? Big CryptoPunk sales, big sales. CryptoPunks were flying this week. CyberKongs had a Telegram mint, so some stickers there too. And FX Hash announced they were done with Tezos. Their mint's going forward, officially base exclusive. At that point, I just like to spot check, but 153 million cross-chain sales. So sales were not actually not so bad then. Let me just peek at some headlines. What was it looking like? Let's see. Yeah, nothing crazy. Oh, actually really big. But I don't cover prediction markets a lot in the newsletter, but Trump admin ends the poly market investigation. That's actually really big for them. That's actually a huge moment. Right? In hindsight, that's actually a pretty important moment. Crazy. Crazy how much happens that can't even make the list because, so much else happens. Last week of July, PayPal shows off PayPal World and Pay with Crypto, and it shows their commitment to crypto, right? They're in the stablecoin business now. We were also looking forward to the report on the establishment of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, the due date finally coming. So this week we were looking forward to that. We had the market structure bill being voted on. It didn't pass, but it still was big focal point of the space back then. Pump token out, pump token performing not great. And that's been the story of the pump token since. But man, people are looking at it there and saying, I think we got a little opportunity here. And no, maybe not. Maybe not. Galaxy Digital logged the largest Bitcoin transaction in history. Now, this is the 80,000 Bitcoin that was transferred just the 2 weeks before or week before. This is it actually being sold. $9.5 billion is what it actually was. The largest ever Bitcoin transaction in the books. And it was interesting how they did it, right? They were kind of like the custodian of it, making sure that sell was done in a way that didn't hurt the market. It's pretty cool how they did it. But at the time, and actually I probably even now, the largest sale we've ever seen, $9 billion of Bitcoin sold. God, it's a lot of money. That week, we also had a judge overturning that $9 million judgment against Ryder, Rips, and Poly. And both sides claimed it as a win, right? Yuga Labs said that it's a win for NFTs. And Ryder and Poly said, no, it's a win for us, right? Like our RRBAYC collection was legit. It's art. It's commentary. That is not done, by the way. That was sent down to a lower court. But what a thing. Do you guys remember? I mean, you guys remember, but was it that around that time? Well, I'm trying to remember. Paulie came on my stream once. Again, you guys who watch all the time know Paulie came on the stream. I think it was for a prior thing. I think it was probably even a year before, but Paulie was on this. I would love to get him back. Love to get Paulie back on. We had the Rect token hitting an all-time high this week too, across 500 mil. I love Rect brands, Rect guys, Rect drinks, all of it. I think OSF is, well, I tweeted it. I tweeted it this week. I tweeted it yesterday. I think OSF, I don't think there's anybody in crypto, anybody who works harder for his brand. I don't think there's anybody who works like that guy. Connections that dude's making. I don't think there's anybody who works like him. And I'm not just saying that because he's coming on the show soon. I believe it. I mean, I would love to get exposure to Rect, and I can. Now it's easy. I can just buy some Rect tokens, right? So it's one of those benefits of these fungible tokens. I don't have to buy a Rect guy NFT. I can go buy the meme coin, and I want to. I want to invest. I want to support because I think he's one of the best things we have in this entire space. Just different guy. And then Yuga Labs host their first ever bubble, Clubhouse bubble event, right? So it's essentially like what we're doing here, or a Spaces, but in the other side metaverse. So they had their first ever official bubble. Into August now, and Coinbase puts out. Here, let me jump down. Coinbase puts out. Hang on, let me jump down. Where the fuck is it? Coinbase. Am I on the right week? Hang on. August 5th. I think it's here. Hang on. Yeah, whatever. I know it's here. Coinbase says that all base tokens will get listed in Coinbase, right? So they hinted that was coming soon. If you're a token on base, and we have our token on base, we have our Swarm token, but saying that they'll get listed on Coinbase, or at least on the DEX side. And that came just a few weeks later, but big thing. This week, I also had a little milestone in Crypto Slam, but hosted my first Crypto Slam marathon show. 420 a few years back, I did a 12-hour stream. So, the big long streams are not my first. A few years back it was. But this was my first, more official marathon stream. And we had on, I think, like 25 guests from across virtuals. It was awesome, dude. What a show. It was the most viewed stream or show about virtuals. Dude, he really is. He really is. Like big time. It was the most viewed stream or show about virtuals. I know, and by the way, I love Will. I'm not knocking him with this thing. I love him. He does great content. A lot of people say we've got the most watched show, the most views, the most whatever. I don't get in that because my numbers, I think, show that this one is. But I'm not a virtual show anymore. I pass that baton or give that crown to Big Will. But also, he's branded as a virtual show. I never was, but it was, and I believe still is, the most watched virtuals piece of content as far as like live show, stream, whatever. It was awesome. Got good experience from it, but it was just great to talk to all these builders. And in a way, it evolved to Slam Nation, right? In a way. We got the crypto report. This was about the creation of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. 168-page report with why we do it, how we acquire Bitcoin, which, by the way, is not buying Bitcoin, which is a huge bummer, huge missed opportunity. Pump Fund launched their revenue dashboard. Pixel Vault fired G-Funk. That was big this week, and those are, some of those feel more personal. I'm just way deeper into, NFTs, right? But Pixel Vault fires G-Funk, accusations that he used project tokens and like customer money in a way to just gamble. And we never had anything like full on proving it, but him getting fired, I think, says it all. Basically the end of Pixel Vault. And that guy, for a long time, I've been saying is like basically a scammer, and turns out he is. Turns out he is. Actual bad guy. Still doesn't get enough hate for what he did in this space. Still doesn't. And then this week, CyberKong's announced that Banana's retiring. I don't remember if they announced their plans for their next token Kong, but the announcement that Banana's retiring came that first week of August here. Now we're into the second week, and things are looking pretty spicy, especially for ETH, which, man, we haven't seen an all-time high in a minute, but looked like we were heading there. ETH rips to almost 4,500. Same week, Animoca acquires a majority stake in Cool Cats. Love Cool Cats, love Animoca. I love seeing those two together. We have a Beeple event where he teases like trolls that Nakamigos are V0 punks, the first iteration of punks, kind of like, but people believed it. It was a total troll and people believed it. And the Nakamigos collection pumped like crazy. You guys remember that? That was crazy. It's going to be an always troll thing. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire. That could be that too. There could still be something there. I don't buy it, but. And then this week, Coinbase did integrate base tokens. So Swarm token, I could go right on Coinbase, search for it. There's Swarm. I could buy it. How crazy is that? Now, it wasn't everything on base. It was like the big dexes. So stuff from Virtual, stuff from Aerodrome. Now everything, I believe, including even on Solana. But that was a big moment, to get everybody access to everybody in a way. Well, especially here in the States. So that was a big moment for Coinbase. And then Art Blocks revealed that the end of Art Blocks Curated was coming, and they announced 5 mints. 5 curated mints would come and would cap out that collection. And it's going to cap it 500 projects. And they happened, and they were great. The following week was another Bitcoin all-time high, but more volatility. Bitcoin fell to 113K after ticking that new all-time high of 124K, just getting closer and closer to that, real top that we did hit in October. But it's a big week for Bitcoin. Again, really volatile. Same week, Virtuals announced they have big changes coming to Genesis. It had kind of petered out here, right? You weren't winning anywhere on Virtuals at that point. It was kind of dead. It was kind of dead, man. So this was the first tease that Unicorn was coming. We didn't have details yet, but The end of Genesis was in sight here. We got word that week that the U.S. would not be buying Bitcoin for the strategic Bitcoin reserve. For me, that had an impact on this space. It did. I think a lot of, at least for me, the prices that I've thought are coming, that I've predicted are coming, was kind of dependent on the government buying Bitcoin, because the goal was to buy 200,000 Bitcoin a year for the next 5 years. That was the goal. That was the goal. That was what the initial proposal was. And when that was announced, well, I'm like, okay, well, that creates, like we're seeing with AI, an arms race. And what I was thinking, hoping, was an arms race for Bitcoin. If we say we're not buying Bitcoin, that's dead. Then that pressure on Bitcoin, that buy pressure, is gone. And we knew this was coming, but this was the first time it was said officially, where Scott Bessent said, no, we're not buying Bitcoin. They're looking for budget neutral ways to acquire. So we're still looking to acquire Bitcoin, but we're not going to spend money and buy it. I think that was a killer for us this year. Not talked about much, but I think that was a killer. I think a lot of people were hoping. Assassin, good to see you, man. Good morning, brother. Great to see you. I think that was a killer. We had this week, let me see where that's at, but we had the official launch of the Kanye coin. Hang on, where is that? Where's the Kanye coin here? Kanye. It was this week. Well, just trust me on it. Kanye coin. Wait. Did I jump ahead? I jumped ahead to the next week. Sorry, spoiler. We had then this week no Bitcoin being purchased for the strategic reserve. Paul Atkins says the SEC is mobilizing to make America the crypto capital of the world. We heard that a lot, right? Nothing new there. Cyberkongs officially end banana yield. And this week, Pirate Nation announced that they're closing the doors. Game over for the pretty hot Web3 game. The Web3 gaming is not working. It's not working. The following week, we're now at the end of August, and we're looking for rate cuts. It's like we do. Nothing changes when rate cuts. But at this point, we hadn't had rate cuts in months, 8 months or 9 months, something like that. So watching that, this week, we also got ETH all-time high. First time in a long time, 4,956. We almost ticked 5K for ETH. That was the top. That's the week that Kanye did officially launch his coin, hit a $3 billion FDV. No idea what it's at now. I bet pretty much a nothing burger. We had the launch of football.fun, which good energy around that. I look like product market fit wise. That's the kind of stuff that works. That was cool. We had the CEO of Bitwise talking about their blue chip NFT index fund, which I think a lot of people don't realize they have, but they do. They have an NFT blue chip index fund. It's really, really freaking cool. I looked at it just the other day. It's still there, right? You get exposure to CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and, the blue chips. I hate that term, but said there was growing interest in it. I thought that was pretty damn interesting. I wonder what that's like now with these prices, what he'd say about the interest in it, but I didn't know it existed back then. For me, a cool moment for NFTs. And this week, Luca Nuts came out and said, our core product, it's not Pudgy Penguin NFTs, it's Pengu. I think it's brilliant. Same way I want to support wrecked brands, and I can do it by buying their tokens. Same thing with Pudgy Penguins. You support Pudgy Penguins by toys, whatever, but maybe buy the NFT, but you just buy the token. Hang on, what was volume like back here? Let me peek at NFTs real quick. 127 mil. God. Felt low then, but we're half of that now. Even crazier. The following, this was actually pretty damn interesting. The U.S. Commerce Department published Q2 GDP data on crypto. This is pretty interesting. They published GDP data on these blockchains, and they put the data on chain. And this got me excited because I start thinking this is the start of the blockchain being used, not just buying coins for the strategic reserve, but using blockchain tech for the thing we thought it could be used for, transparency and immutability. And seeing that, I'm like, man, special moment. And then Pyth and Link tokens absolutely on fire because that was the tech they used to put the data on chain. Great seeing it in action for a use case that's not all about price go up, right? It's about what it's for. At its core, what is it for? World Liberty Finance or Financial launched officially this week, the token. Right, so after all the pre-sales, whatever, token is live. They changed so much about it, right? It was soul-bound at first, and man, a lot of changes there. Pudgy Penguins launched Pudgy Party that week too on Mythos Chain. Quickly raced to 500,000 downloads. Quickly raced to 1 million downloads. Was a absolute honor to have. Was it the CIO of Mythical Games come on the stream on our mega stream a few weeks back? Awesome guy. Awesome blockchain. We've worked with them for years. Great team. The Sandbox announced a major restructuring, laid off 50% of their staff, and Sebastian Bourget kind of switching roles. He was actually my first big interview. He's not on this channel, but back in the day on forecast.news, I got to interview him. It was crazy. Way out of my league with that too, but it was pretty damn cool. Cool guy. Pump Fund launched Ascend. It was basically a more like dynamic fee structure for creators. Like the smaller your coin, I think the higher your fees. And then Poppy, who I think is a legend. Poppy over in the NFT space acquired the Quirkies. I think Quirkies are one of those ones you have to be watching this year. Quirkies are going to be a monster at some point. And what does that mean price-wise? Don't know, but pretty big. We had the next week major scare across the crypto industry, and it wasn't just crypto, it was everything. It was everything. Gravity, good morning, dude. GM. This is basically Cutie, just continuing yesterday. We're just going week by week reviewing last year. I can't rank them. I can't do it. Luna, thank you for the retweet. And Luna, quitting no, show most likely changing. Like, yeah, it's either this show changes entirely and it's not on market and stuff, which, you know, I know that's why we're here. It's more of a focus on what we're doing, which again, I believe in. And so I'm happy to put all my attention on that. If that's if that happens, guys, I'm going to find, and I think I'll be able to do this. I'll just do on my, personal. I'll just get a stream in the morning going. It might be less researched, whatever, but I'll have, right. Maybe I don't do the research and build out, the show and stuff. I just use somebody else's report, 24-hour report. And we just kind of riff through that. Either way, I'll be live every day. I'm pretty damn sure. And by the way, I'm not definitely changing anything. So we will see. All right, where were we? Okay. Huge. I don't want to call it a hack. I guess it started with a hack, but do you guys remember this thing that happened where there was like this person that published this JavaScript? I'm not a dev, so I'm going to speak on this probably not the best way. A reputable, I'll just read off what I wrote. NPM account, right? So they publish these code packages, compromised. This is one of the most downloaded, resources in the world, right? Like this specific account sees over 1 billion downloads a week. Basically, anybody who uses JavaScript is at risk, which was basically everybody, everything, every crypto platform, whatever. Do you remember this though? A call was put out on X. Basically, don't use anything. Don't use your wallets. Don't connect to any sites. Don't transact on sites because we don't know what the risk is. It's like crypto came to a standstill for a minute. Kind of did. More if you're like, on the degen side of things, but kind of standstill. And in the end, almost nothing lost. I think they said $500 in total loss. It was mitigated really, really quickly, but for a minute there, scary. And that's like my biggest fear is that kind of black swan event. Something compromised at a level, where it's a thing everybody touches, everybody uses. There's nobody who's like immune to it. That stuff scares me. That was the first time I'm like, oh, dude, it might have been this, but I'm like, that's going to happen at some point. Crazy. That week, Mocha drop. Rebranded, became Mocha Portfolio. I think same idea though. Way to get access to token sales. OpenSea announced a mobile app, the mobile app with AI integrated, which is pretty cool. I've never used it actually, but they also announced their flagship collection. They announced the TGE details coming in October. Same week, RWAs were exploding. Remember Collector Crypt, I think it is? Is it Collector Crypt? Yeah, so we had these Pokemon RWAs and stuff trading. They have a token that got up to, I don't know, dude. I want to say like 500 mil. By the way, meme coins look terrible during this time, so seeing any coin cook like it did. Yeah, 500 mil FDV. Crazy. So RWAs were exploding. Same week, Christie's announces the closure of their digital art department. That one was tough. That was tough when you have an institution like that saying it's not worth our time or effort, or maybe we don't believe in it, which I don't think is the case, but their whole digital art department, maybe minus like one position, gone. Chris Wall acquires Punk's Comic and Meta Hero. So with Pixel Vault going bye-bye, G-Funk, fired, whatever. What do you do with the brands? What do you do with the comic? Well, you give it to the artist who created it. So Punk's Comic, Meta Hero go to Chris Wall. And this week, the Kongs announced the TGE for their Kong token. Got a lot of backlash also. I think the community liked it, but, remember the Beanie FUD then. All right, on to the, second week of September. And again, rate cuts. And this was the first time it seemed we were going to get rate cuts. I think it happened too. Memory's not that good, but I think it happened. We had Solana hit a 7-month high, price-wise, right? Following the Trump meme coin, an all-time high back then, wasn't so hot. And then we kind of were looking interesting again for a minute. You could probably think what happened that week, which was the CCM meta, creator content, or no, was it creator content? It's basically like Base is doing, but Pump Funds version of it. The content coins. We had the Bagworks guys explode. Viral, super viral live streams. They were being like super obnoxious, kid shit. I get it. It's fun, I guess. But, doing stuff, getting kicked out of baseball games and like just being, doing that thing. They were leaking music, right? They got some connections real quick. I think Elon might have hooked them up or whatever, but they were streaming music that was like unreleased Cardi stuff, Drake stuff. These guys were everywhere that weekend. I remember not sleeping, just staying up on my phone, watching the token, trading the token. And I was there, right? I did a stream too, but I was watching. I'm like, this is it. This is, it makes sense. And I think the creator coins work. And I still do believe they work. But, like that point about always being plugged in because you never know when the thing's going to happen. You got to be there for it. I've done these streams for so long, right? So I'm always streaming. I'd streamed on Pump Fund before, but when I saw this exploding, I told myself, you better be streaming like right there. You better be there streaming. Yeah, G-Funk got fired. Good to see you, Tickle. G-Funk got fired, yeah. Yeah, he was accused of stealing funds and gambling it away and stuff. G-Funk was fired 5 months ago. Maddie, real cool. Happy New Year, DK. Yeah, G-Funk is a criminal. He's and yeah, actual criminal. So yeah, all that stuff is done, I believe. Like done. Done. So when the Bagwork thing was happening, again, I'm watching the streams, I'm in it, I'm having fun, I'm trading the token. I'm like, get your ass on there and stream. You got to do it. You've already done it. You're already on Pump Fund. You've done a stream or two. The next morning, and a lot of you guys were there, and I'm sorry if people bought and are down. Sucks, everything is. But the next morning, I hop on, I'm streaming. There's not many people streaming, but the CCM meta is exploding, and everybody's looking for the next content creator who's going to maybe not go viral. They are looking for anything legitimate. And so people saw my stream, saw that, hey, there's a guy who maybe has connections, who maybe knows what he's doing a bit. And again, you guys saw what happened. My coin ripped to a $300,000 market cap. It bonded, ripped to 300K. Guys, I made like $6,000 in fees, which I lost all of it. Stupid trade. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I bought Cappy. As Cappy came down, this is probably a month or two later, right? But as Cappy was like bleeding out, whatever, I still didn't think this run was done. And I put, I think, almost all of it in Cappy and lost it all. All gone. Not smart. Wasn't smart. You got to put aside, what I know. Should have put aside 2/3 of it and played with a third. I just believed in it. Actually, and I still do believe in Cappy, but that $6,000 gone. It's nothing. Kind of sucks. Why this X copy thing comes at a very helpful time. I got to make that thing work. I got to make that work somehow, some way. But the meta was awesome. It was very short-lived. I still believe in it too. I do believe in it. And I still believe it comes back even on Pump Fund. And I don't think we've seen the end. In fact, I think we see some really exciting stuff in the creator coins. I do. I believe it. And I could be wrong, but I believe, again, I'll do the Paul Atreides thing. All these ways, how does he word it? I got to like lock this in my brain, but all these ways, that we lose, but I see a very narrow path. There's a narrow path. There's a narrow way that it works. And I see it. Okay. Base this week. This is a busy week. Base announced their base token for the first time officially, right? There were rumors of it, but officially announced, right? At this base event. Base token coming. We don't know when it's coming, how you're going to get it, anything like that. But the announcement, awesome. Same week, Seed Phrase acquires Wolf Game, and this is the week Pudgy Party hit 500,000 downloads really quickly after launch, within a month, within a few weeks, really. All right, now this is really maybe the beginning of the end, because we saw our biggest liquidation event in crypto since March. Brutal. And you know what was coming just a few weeks later, but massive liquidation event. Same week, SEC teased an innovation exemption for the first time, which is going to save us with the Clarity Act likely not passing. The innovation exemption is what keeps us keeps people building without the Clarity Act or market structure bill actually like signed into law. So innovation exemption mentioned for the first time. Same week, Aster launched. My first time ever trading on a perp dex. Got into Aster, traded XPL a little bit. We had the strategy tokens that were starting to cook right around here. We had Punk Strategy in the first batch, Burb, Dick Strategy, Ape Strategy, Pudgy Strategy, Meebit Strategy. So the strategy thing was starting to pop right here. And I like those. Still do. MetaMask this week announced a token, the Mask token. That's still coming this year. Looking forward to that. Man, and a really sad thing happened this week too. Right? It was on the heels of the CCM thing, the bag work thing. Everybody's over here trying to make money, doing their streams, making money from fees. And we had this guy, Rostaland, who has cancer, was raising money for his treatments. All his crypto stolen. All of it. And he was using this for treatments. Now, if you guys were there, man, Punk Strategy early would have been wild. Yeah. I remember the Kongs had called Punkster at like 10 mil, something pretty low. The bummer about Rostaland, well, first off, again, if you were like following my pump fund stuff, the same scammer was in our chat, right? And I pulled it up on screen. He's in our chat, asked me to try out his game on stream. And so I went to it. It was on Steam. I pulled up the page, and usually I'm smart. And luckily in this case I was. I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm not going to, even though it's on Steam, which I assumed like things are vetted. I'm like, I'm not going to click and install it. I'm not going to play it. I'm like, it just for safety reasons. I'm like, looks cool. I'll play the trailer here. And I showed people, and I looked at it. I'm like, it's a game. It looks okay, but it looks pretty like whipped it up in a couple days. But I try supporting people. But I made sure to tell people here, I wouldn't, do at your own risk. I'm not going to do it. We find out the next day it was a scam. Again, he got super bummer. This guy had passed away a couple months back too. Nice thing is the space came together and made him whole. Like Alex Becker donated money. The whole space donated money that, he got taken care of. But that was one of the saddest things I've ever seen, ever. Just brutal. And then we had something on virtuals this week. I'm trying to remember if this was the official launch of Unicorn, or we got Unicorn details, or it was just that they announced like big changes coming. Let me just double check here. Virtuals announced major changes coming to virtuals. Okay, we didn't get the official Unicorn announcement yet, so that wasn't there. I got to move quick. We got like, let me see if our meeting's scrapped. No, we're still on. Yeah, I got like 10 minutes. Either way, I'll have to wrap, our year in review thing here. Well, in 10 minutes, but all right. So moving on. Swift announced a partnership with Consensus to build a blockchain-based settlement system. I believe a blockchain itself. I believe it's a chain. And we're going to see a lot of this, by the way. Everybody assumed everything's coming to ETH. And maybe Solana, and maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we're going to have blockchains that are just for stablecoin settlements. So we have the banks starting to push back against stablecoins, which is what's happening now, where they're trying to undo some things that were in the Genius Act. There is a fight right now big banks versus the crypto industry. It's happening, and they're having some success. I think they've helped turn the narrative around about the Clarity Act and get pushback, and get to the point where it's not going to pass. We had Plasma launch the XPL token. So this is when I was trading on Aster. And again, the timing of it's just crazy. So I'm trading on Aster, trading the XPL token. South Park did the prediction market episode right then. Prediction markets hitting all-time highs by every metric. And it kept doing that week after week after week. That was a big milestone this year for prediction markets. Hyper NFTs dropped to those, their top platform users. Some of them sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? The rarest ones in the collection, 200,000, 300,000. One sold for $470,000. Crazy stuff. We'll see that again. I am sure of it. We will see stuff like that again. Not as a whole across the space, although I do think years down the road we will, but we'll see one-offs like that again. Greed. Give rich people money, or people who have made a lot of money, you're going to do some reckless stuff that. We will always see this. This is not a one-off thing. This is human nature, and we'll see it again. Rec Brands announced an energy drink, and I believe that's the X Game partnership. Okay, we keep moving. Now the next week, and this was it. This was the top. Okay, so keep in mind, we had just had a big liquidation event. We had the perp dexes really cooking Asters out. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, 126K. That was our top. So keep in mind all those things I just said. So that happens. Bitcoin all-time high. BlackRock declares their IBIT ETF is their most profitable product or offering of the year. Punk Strategy just cooking here. It's an investment from ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, parent company of the NYSE. Wild stuff. Virtuals reveals Unicorn. So this is the big update to Virtuals. I like it a lot. Wins aren't what they used to be, but I like it. And Larva Labs launches their Quine collection. So busy week here. And then the following week is really when it falls apart. Fresh off our all-time high, perp dex is really just kind of full throttle. And we biggest liquidation event in the history of crypto here. You remember 1010? It's a milestone moment for crypto. Always will be. Dude. Crazy stuff. $19 billion was wiped out of the market, all within a few hours. And we know there was something more structural that broke, right? Market makers probably went bankrupt, some of them. We keep hearing that, right? But we also have, like we talked about yesterday, earlier in the year, reports that China was selling Bitcoin aggressively. They had $16 billion worth. Still, at that point, they'd already sold a few bill. They still had $16 billion worth. But we're hearing a lot now that part of what was going on here was China dumping Bitcoin. Maybe using this as cover, right? Token. I don't remember if it was a stablecoin depegging or whatever, but big cascading effect. People getting liquidated everywhere. Again, $19 billion poof. Crazy. We had GVC launch their strategy token, and I single that one out because there's two strategy coins that really set themselves apart from the rest, and it's Chimpers and it's GVC, projects that didn't have a token before that are pretty hot right now on the NFT side. That's the product market fit. Make it your core token. GVC is, I think, the best one strategy token wise. Doesn't mean it's the biggest, doesn't mean it's the most valuable, whatever, but works, fits, whatever. Yeah. Yep. Beanie started his bear arc, his shitting on everything NFT. And that's his shtick now. And I like it because he's pretty right about a lot of this stuff. But yeah, dunking on especially on that Larva Labs collection. Actually, they ended up decently from there right after. But Doodles announced a partnership with Universal Horrors. Pretty cool. Kong's announced the evolution of babies, which I dig. And then Reddit announces that Reddit avatars are going bye-bye. And actually, you had till yesterday to transfer them. If you didn't, your Reddit avatars are gone. They're gone. All right, October 22nd, week of the 22nd. OpenSea reveals their token details, right? Like, when's TGE? Well, it's Q1. The first OpenSea chests or Wave 1 chests cracked open too. A lot of backlash from the community. Wasn't really well received. The tokenomics, 50% of token supply is going to the community, 25% at TGE, other 25% to future farming campaigns. And then OpenSea is going to use 50% of their revenue to buy back tokens. So I like it. In general, I like what they got going on a lot. A lot. And then we announced Slam Nation, a hub for builders. The show rebranded as Slam Nation. We got a lot of awesome projects we're working with here, and a lot of them still to announce what they're doing and the why. Excited to have them all on the show and show you guys, but fun stuff. End of October, X402 meta explodes. I think the silliest meta, right? Everybody talking about X402 tokens. It doesn't make sense. It's not a narrative meta that made sense, but it was a thing. X402. It was the talk of crypto Twitter for a weekend at least. And the protocol is legit. X402 is very legit. It'll be everywhere and everything. Payments over HTTP, but crypto payments over it. Awesome. Ape Fest had just happened, and crypto prices, man, getting obliterated. And I still say that Ape Fest was one of the biggest events of this year because it was awesome, but more than that, because if you do something that big and people, pretty universally loved it and prices can't hold, then it's kind of a sign that these are all overpriced, and it's exactly what happened. So at Ape Fest, they announced their physical clubhouse in Miami. Construction starts actually this month, guys. Opens later this year. I love that. They announced an animation studio, a partnership with Amazon Gaming. They had these really cool artsy, what are their Voyagers? Is that what it is? Yeah, they're Voyager avatars. Yeah. Real cool. And they launched an Other Deed strategy token. I bought that, made some money off it. That was cool. But the prices of the Bored Ape NFTs down almost 11% that week. And kind of down only since. And it actually took a lot of the rest of the NFT space with it. So pretty wild. We had the Mega ETH pre-sale start this week, and Reid Hoffman announced he bought a CryptoPunk. Into November now, and this is so recent that we probably remember this all very well. Extreme fear, because, man, we just had the big liquidation event. We capped off October, which is our first red October in 7 years. October, we used to call October. I don't think we do anymore. Next year, we'll do the narrative again, but something broke last year. First red October in 7 years. Bitcoin falls below 100K, and for the first time, we start asking, is the cycle over? That talk happened here. And it might be. Or we go all the way back to Matt Hogan and others who said early in the year, the 4-year cycle's done. There is no cycle. I don't know. We're going to find out. Nobody knows anything. Mask reveals a rewards program. This is not for the Mask token, but they kicked off a farming season, 30 million in Linea rewards. I don't know anybody who's doing this at all. I don't know. And then Yuga Labs getting people hyped up for the Other Side Metaverse to open its doors, that persistent 24/7 thing. All right, now we got to really race through this. All right, we got Animoca going public the following week, or announcing that they'll be a publicly traded company via a reverse merger. And I'm trying to remember the names. What was the name? Currency. With Currency. We'll have more details about this coming up soon. We did talk about it when Yatsu came on the stream a few weeks back. He talked about this a bit. Cool. Coinbase revealed their new token pre-sale launchpad. Monad, their first. I bet we got another coming up really soon, by the way. I'm just trying to think of big ICOs coming, but the follow-up's got to be really soon. But Monad happened. Monad, you're down if you bought in, unfortunately. Senate releases draft of the market structure bill. Azuki says they're going to focus on Web 2. And then we got some Art Basel announcements. Who's going to be there? And Art Basel was magic. We'll get to that soon. Big thing for us this week was our announcement. I think I covered on the next newsletter, but this week is where we announced that we're partnering with Yahoo Finance. We're going to power their NFT dashboards on their new crypto hub. Big thing. Yahoo Finance also came on the stream a couple weeks back, which was just awesome. Following week, I'm just going to blitz through this shit at this point. We had Flog blind boxes, raised almost $500,000. Rec Drinks land in Giant Eagle stores. The Other Side officially opens. Cool stuff. Fear Greed Index, Extreme Fear still. We're start hitting a record for our longest time we've been in Extreme Fear. Crazy. And ETH is getting ready for the Fusaka upgrade, which was actually super, super cool. Now we get into the maybe Operation Choke Point 3.0. We have MicroStrategy or strategy being attacked by like JP Morgan and maybe a much bigger thing, but a threat that they're going to be delisted from the, what is this? The MSCI. It's a fund. It's an index, right? And if they're delisted, you'll see major outflows from the index itself. And it's crushed strategy. In fact, strategy just hit another low yesterday, like a new 52-week low. Strategy's getting brutalized. We had a Cardano outage this week too. And by the way, about Monad, actually right at that point, Monad actually was up, hit a 4.6 bill FDV. So he actually had a little win. All right, let's see. Next week, strategy stock falls 60%. They announced a 1.4 billion cash reserve. Let's keep going. Blind box mania. We have Pudgy Penguins announce a blind box. A lot of blind box stuff. Yeah. The ETH Fusaka upgrade happened that week. Pudgy Penguins announced a partnership with the NHL. And Bitcoin finishes November with its second worst performance on record, down 17%. Yikes. So now we get to the stuff I love, though. It's like the price I get, I want things to be up. I want to make money. Yeah. But this is the stuff I love. We had Art Basel. Beeple shocks the world with his regular animals collection. And actually, display, not just the collection. Fucking amazing. Love it. I think the collection is just magic, too. Base launched their Solana bridge. Solana Seeker had a vulnerability revealed. Trump announced savings accounts for kids, which is cool as hell. And we got Binance Jr. announced, too, a crypto account for kids. Doodles announced the Doopies collection. We hosted our marathon show. And then we get Coinbase showing off everything they're building. They launched their base app. They announced a prediction market, tokenized stock, loans, cool stuff. Visa announced stablecoin settlement, 2 banks that would settle 7 days a week in stablecoins. MoMA acquires 8 CryptoPunks, 8 Squiggles. Man, so much happened at the end of the year. Pudgy Penguins on the Las Vegas Sphere. And then finally, just the very last week, Nick Shirley content coin goes viral. Content coins, maybe they work, maybe they don't. Too early to tell. But that was kind of the cap at the end of the year. That was the biggest thing. Nick Shirley content coin, the most viral guy in the world, at least for that weekend. And coin hits a 9 mil market cap. And from there, what? Kind of a nothing burger. All right. I got to get out of here. Wait. Hang on. My meeting got zapped. I mean, we made it through anyways. Meeting zapped. All right, I'm actually good. That's cool. Well, we made it mostly through. Hang on, let me just double check that we're. Yeah, meeting zapped. Okay, cool. Damn. We rushed through that for nothing. Well, dude, what's Pandora? Hang on, what did I miss? Speaking of Pandora, do you remember Pandora? Do you remember the 404s? Yeah, let's do some predictions. Yeah, I like that. Hang on, I skipped a couple things just for time. Pudgy Penguins, Las Vegas Sphere, Emmy Rev Share with Stakers. Yeah, I mean, cool stuff. And then the Clarity Act in doubt for 25. Rect partners with WorldStar Hip Hop. Yuga Labs acquires Unreal Engine-based creator platform from Improbable. Flow stop flowing. Uniswap goes 0 fees. The Uniswap thing, I think we have to circle back to at some point. I do. I think we gotta get on that at some point. Okay. Metas for next year. Here, we'll just throw all my fucking notes up on the screen. Oh, dude, Pandora was I was hoping 404s would matter. I had a buddy who, was up hundreds of thousands of dollars on Pandora, and I wonder if he round tripped it all. He had to have, right? He had to have. Brutal. All right, so our metas, and I'll just keep this running list of notes just running. Next year, stable coins, robotics and AI, tokenized stocks, privacy. I was debating putting perp dexes just on their own, but I kind of lumped that in with tokenized stocks, and I don't know if that makes sense or not. But stable coins, robotics, tokenized stocks, privacy, in prediction markets for sure. Let me put that there, but I could zap that. What am I missing? What else do you think? What else do you guys think? Hoods, I don't think I saw your question. Hang on. Let me see. Let me get Hoods' question. Let's see. Hood, send your question again, I guess, because I don't see it. Yeah, just drop it again if you don't mind. Okay, so privacy shit. I mean, privacy coin, privacy, whatever. Hang on, what else do we have? AI, AI and robotics. I think those are the big ones, man. Yeah, Hood, just drop the question again because I scrolled up and I'm not sure which it was. I feel like we're missing a big meta here. But stable coins, yeah. I'll even start with that. And by the way, this is a thing that's just like an ongoing thing, like a research thing. The plays for stable coins, farming yield, yes. That's like the lowest hanging fruit. And I think the opportunities there are going to be incredible. Like incredible. As in so many options. So they have to start getting very competitive and offer very high yields and I hope very safe yields. But I wonder if somebody cracks the code for just like awesome returns, lower risk for the kind of return you're getting. I don't know. But where you're really going to see, I think, the wins come from is the platforms, especially the aggregators, right? I talked to Neox a few weeks back. And they're essentially like a yield farming, aggregator. And it'll actually manage your money for you. It'll move your funds between protocols. I'm looking for stuff like that, like a platform token that gives you access to things like that. That I think is going to be an interesting play. But Jordy Visser had mentioned like the Cisco of stablecoins. That's what you're looking to play, like the hardware or like the pipes, the plumbing for stablecoins, the rails. It's investing in that. The play on stablecoins might not be in crypto at all, even though, again, yields here, yes. But the play might be in, something like Circle Stock or another provider that has an IPO. That might be the play, but there's going to be some big money to be made in stablecoins. It's a thing to be watching, though. And of course, play DPEGs, maybe, maybe. I don't know. Now, robotics and AI, I'm not going to spend too much on, but it happens to be the thing we probably know the most about, right? So I think it's just, for me, a very obvious thing. Does AI mature this year? Does it hit this next level? We've got our thing coming out, and I know at this point for sure AI is better than it's ever been. It does more, and it's better than it's ever been. In like, where with AI we're always thinking exponential gains are coming with it. Something has happened. Something has happened where AI right now is, take the Will Smith video, right, from a few years back, the Will Smith spaghetti video. It's that compared to what current image generation looks like and video generation. That's what's kind of happening right now with AI, LLMs especially, right? A huge leap just happened. And I don't know if people have really seen it or felt it. I think with Gemini, people have felt it for the first time. And if you're not using it, then you wouldn't quite know yet. But if you have used Gemini, I think you now see that something changed. Hang on. Oh, sweet. I see you, Hoods. I don't think that was your question, but I see you. I see it. So AI, is this the year that AI products like evolve, and maybe more specifically, is it where like DeFi actually takes off, like agents that trade and make you money? That does tie into the whole stablecoin game too. It actually does. A lot of like, well, I'll use Neox again as an example. I don't own any of their coins, by the way. So this is just using them as an example, but they're using AI to keep to see trends and to stay ahead of these yields and move you out when yields are going down and move you into products where they're about to go up. Interesting stuff. Is AI finally at that point where it helps you make money? That's what we're watching for. I think it might be. I'm not sure yet, but I think it might be. And the flip side of that, it's two sides of the same coin, but it's robotics, it's physical AI. Is this the year where robotics are something we can invest in via tokens? And I still struggle to see how that plays out. If I have a ranking, like for me, robotics is at the bottom. It's definitely at the bottom. Like I believe robotics is gonna be massive. Like who doesn't? But is robotics a play here in crypto? That I'm not sure about. Training data I get, but again, I'm not sure. So I put it there as the top thing to watch for, but I'm not sure. Virtual's leaning heavy into robotics this year, though. And so we're going to want to keep a really close eye on virtuals. And you know we do, so we're not going to miss it if there's things, if there's plays, if it actually happens to explode. But I'm just not convinced. I'm not. Let me find a virtuals post just so we see how they're talking about it. Imagine having access to ownership of the world's leading robotics companies. Yeah, and so this is their partner, one of their partners. They've got two big robotics partners. Top humanoid robotic startups. Access was once limited to venture capital. Deuce changes that. Get liquid exposure to the private robotics markets. I don't know what the market caps are of these coins. I don't know. Was that your question, a timestamp for something? You posted something at midnight last night. You made a post on Base called Pull Up. It should be the first song token post for the new year. Is there a way to find the time? Well, so it's on chain, right? So if you go to like Base Scan, you should see it there, right? So yeah, blockchain. They're definitely time stamped. But I'm watching especially if the Caesar thing really plays out. The Caesar thing, right? Owning token equals ownership of the brand. It's equity. If that plays out in robotics, game on, right? Game on. Because if we start seeing VC money go from just pure AI to like robotics, which it kind of is already, but I don't know to what degree. I don't hear it talked about a lot, right? I don't hear a ton of talk about VCs like doubling down on robotics. Maybe this is the year that happens. It's why we have to be watching this stuff. But if they kind of shift from AI to robotics, or if robotics becomes part of that, game on. And if token equals equity, man, I'm excited for it. Tokenized stocks, right? We have Coinbase offering tokenized stocks. We have Robinhood. Will become a big thing. Look, like when Luna told us here, you could trade like gold and silver on Lighter. Crazy. And people are learning you can do that on these perp dexes. Opens up those markets to people who, like me, who don't trade them anywhere else or never have traded them. Now I can. Now I can on these crypto platforms. The same thing with stocks. I'm not trading stocks anywhere. If they're tokenized, I probably would. And we'll see leverage trading on this stuff too, which is wild. I can't even like understand where that goes, but that's coming. That's coming too. So it's a whole new game, I guess, in a way. Like it's a whole new, like, meta, whatever. It's a whole new area that I got to start exploring and learning and seeing if there's like opportunity to make some money there in trading stocks. Tokenized stocks would be crazy, but it's coming. Prediction markets, not a lot to say there. They, obviously just going to keep growing. And I the opportunities don't feel the same. Like the wins don't feel as big. For me, they're not as fun. I thought they'd be fun. It's just, I don't know. It's not my style or speed or whatever. There you go. Yeah, stocks on Lighter. Tesla on 20x. Damn, dude. That's probably awesome. I love it. But I'll say this. Privacy for me is top of the list. Number one, and it's not even close. I think privacy is the story. Privacy is the meta. Privacy is the thing I think you will have, at least here on like crypto Twitter and the degen side. I think privacy is where you might get some of your more interesting plays and big wins. And there's a bunch of platforms, and I'll do these justice a little down the road, like over the next couple of weeks, like deep dives into these platforms. But the Shade L2, man, I wish I could have done these in a different order. But Ethereum is leaning into the privacy meta, right? Vitalik had made a post saying we need to put a big focus on privacy, right? There it is. Full stack privacy and security are first class priorities at Ethereum. I wonder if Ethereum and Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation, if everybody's going to talk about privacy, and if the ETH token ever gets like a little boost for being part of that conversation, because they maybe should be in the conversation with something like Midnight, right? This is that new side chain on Cardano. I've talked about this a little bit, never in depth, but my spidey senses tingle so hard about Midnight. Privacy chain that it has interesting tokenomics. You hold the Night token, it earns you this was it Dust token. Night's not tradable, Dust is. You actually have to use Dust to use the chain. It's so interesting to me. It's so, I don't know, man. There's something about this. There's something about Midnight. And part of it, to be honest, part of it is just the characters. Part of it's Charles, who, like, I know he's seems like a weird dude, but like, I think that dude's got just crazy aura. Like Charles is a different dude. And I think with guys like Mert going so heavy into privacy too, I just picture not a PvP thing. I picture a more PvE thing, right? The privacy guys supporting the privacy guys. I think you're gonna have some of the biggest characters in crypto Twitter talking about Midnight. And of course, Zcash, right? But Midnight, I think, has got way more, I guess, like viral moments ahead of it on X. And then I think the chain itself, when people are using it, right? Mainnet's not live yet. Next year it goes live. I think at some point, well, I think when that goes live, it gives all the Cardano bros something to be excited for, right? It gives the privacy guys something to be excited for. Midnight's probably top of my list for things that I'm looking to dive much, much, much deeper into. And again, I want to save that. It's something I want to dive in deeper. I've been reading it. I've been trying to understand as much as I can. I want to be able to explain it. Monero, for obvious reasons, being like the OG of privacy coins, that the platforms or infrastructure around it are only getting better. That even somebody like Paul Atkins says things like they need to put a focus on privacy too, right? They understand like the risk of blockchain and it being transparent. So them talking privacy, privacy will be, again, I think the biggest story of this year coming up. And by the way, I say that and I also say I'm expecting a whole new narrative or meta to come in that we're not expecting. Something brand new. I bet by the end of the year, the top thing, what we remember 26 by, is not any of these. It's something else entirely. I don't know what it would be, but just a gut feel. I mean, hell, I'm trying to think when going into 25, what we thought 25 would be the year of. Maybe it was Bitcoin. It was probably Bitcoin, right? It definitely wasn't InfoFi. It definitely wasn't, I don't think it was, I don't think it was perp dexes, even though Hyperliquid is already kind of there and cooking. I guess we thought it'd be the year of AI, and it kind of was, but it mostly wasn't. In fact, for you guys, yeah, what do you think is the top thing we remember 2025 for? I think for me, it's going to be like scams. I think it is. Like I'll lump 1010 into that. I think for me, I lump all these together. The Trump token, the Melania token, the Libra thing, the Bybit thing, and 1010. I think for me, those are all part of the same conversation. I think I'm going to remember 25 for that, which is crazy. So what do you think we remember 26 by? The end of the cycle? As in like cycle's broken? As in like bucking the trend and we have like a crazy, crazy up year? It might be something like that. Okay, so Monero is something I'm actually considering. So all these things, I want to get skin in the game. I want to actually buy some of all these, so I start using the platforms. But Monero is something I'm looking at actually buying. I haven't held it in forever. I bought Monero when you could buy it on a regular exchange, and you can't anymore, right? So I'm going to start looking to buy Monero and use the platforms where you can trade it. And there's beta plays to it, right? We talk about this one a lot, or often enough too. Mute swap, right? I can go buy some Monero on Mute swap. It's one of those reasons I'm bullish on it. Is there's people building because the privacy meta is going to be so hot, and we believe there's a lot of money coming into it. Well, Mute swap is one of those things that really could benefit from it. I think it will. So that Mute token I'm looking at too. But the things around these privacy tokens really starting to grow. And again, Monero's got, kind of first mover advantage. It's got a OG baked in community. Can Monero do what like Zcash did? Like old established coin comes back and becomes like main player. And, in a way, Monero kind of already is. You got Zcash too, right? So we just mentioned it, but Zcash, I think Luna does not like Zcash, right? And some of you guys too, and maybe some of you guys love it. I don't know. I just go by feels. I just go by feels. And like vibes feels, nothing technical tells me Zcash is not a nothing burger. That Zcash has got some life ahead. And by the way, I like Beanie a lot. Like I agree with Beanie on almost all his takes, and he does not like Zcash. He thinks this is like a very coordinated, like pumpy thing. So I'll go against Beanie here, where maybe if it is that, I don't know if it is, but I think Zcash is actually special. And as high as it is now, I think has got much higher potential. What is it at? Is it like an 8 bill market cap? But you start asking yourself, like, what's the ceiling? How many multiples do you have in it at this point? Like, can you get a 2x at a Zcash, right? Or I don't know if we're at that point with Zcash, but I'm watching that kind of thing. Where can I actually hit some home runs, right? Mute is where I think that can happen. Zcash, I think, does well. Mute's where I think it could happen. Or privacy chains like Shade or like Pirate Chain. The opportunities might be on some of these platforms, which are not like mainstream crypto right now. And one of them or some of them, I believe, will be. It might actually be Midnight. It's actually why Midnight, I think, is, for me, top dog. It's a privacy chain. Now, what there's different types of privacy. There's things that set these all apart. And that's what we really got to dive into here coming up soon, which is what's their tech? Why are they different? Which one is doing it the right way and the way that's not going to get like scrutiny from the US government? Maybe they all do. Maybe there's some that are just like straddle that line, which is what ETH is going to do. It's maybe a little what Midnight's going to do, but I think, Charles is kind of in that. Charles is so rich, he can say fuck it. And he can do like a McCaffrey thing, and he can be like full on fuck it mode and go head to head, with the government, right? I'm just saying that one's got potential to be like very private, very different. So we'll see. But yeah, Shade L2, I think their TGE is coming still. So I'm going to watch this one. I want to make sure we get into this, like research it before that happens, but I'm definitely watching the Shade L2. And there's all kinds of other plays, not some of them without tokens, by the way, right? This is a Solana wallet, the Hush wallet. There's a privacy cache. It's a mixer over on Solana. There's a ton of privacy products, but I'm going to look for the privacy products that have a token. And this will be a battle over this stuff, man. Guys are going to go to jail. Hell, do we get to the point where you have the threat of jail for using some of this stuff? I don't know, but I think that's like, it adds some spice to this year. Add some spice to this year, like the story here. And I think it's going to bring a lot of attention to the privacy stuff, and I think it's going to bring a lot of money. I think it brings a lot of money because it's so controversial. That's probably as deep as I'm going to go with like predictions, because again, I want to do this justice and actually dive into the platforms. But again, these are very obvious plays, right? It's leverage trading. It's tokenized stocks. Yes, it's the stable coin stuff we talked about. It's AI and robotics, and it's privacy. It's I can't put anything I don't think above privacy plays this year. I think that's top dog stuff. Give me though, Luna. Yeah, I don't know anybody who uses Solana. To be honest, I don't. If you're not meme coin in there, I don't know anybody who's using it. What do you guys got that's not on this list? It's a short list, but what do you think is a? Give me two things. What's going to be the top story of the year? Like, what's the top thing? But what do you think is one of the top plays out there, sectors that we haven't mentioned? Because, right, the top story of the year might not even involve like an asset you can trade. Mesh, I see you. Good morning. Hang on. Let me hit that question. Hang on, a couple things. The crypto robotics plays sound too good to be true. Traditional robots and AI plays have well outperformed any crypto competitors. Everyone thought 25 would be AI. How do I get involved in Midnight and Dust? It's buying Midnight Spot. Yeah. Yep. And I think you can do it on a Cardano, Dex or something. I don't know if you can do it on Coinbase yet, but yeah, it's you buy that and then you generate dust. Creator coins. Oh, dude, I like that. Everyone hates them, so you love them. Yeah, dude, I that would be cool. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking. It's like, what's a meta that's out there now that people think is not going to be hot and it catches everyone by surprise? Creator coins could be. It could be. Like, nothing can go as viral as a creator coin. That's my thought. And you have like potentially infinite numbers of viral moments. So I'll put that as the biggest X factor for the year, creator coins. I like that a lot, man. To me, it makes a lot of sense. But Mesh, I'll know for sure soon because I want to buy some Night token. So I'll know for sure soon, like where you buy it. I want a bag of it. I want a big old bag of Night. Yeah, I just gotta feel, dude. I just gotta feel. It's not cheap, by the way, either. But I think it's got. Here, let's go. Let's go to CoinGecko. We didn't even look at. We're still at 87K, dude. We are not budging. But let me peek at our market cap of Night. 2 bill FTV. Yeah, I can see something like this at like what 5 bill makes sense. 10 bill makes sense. Maybe 15. Maybe but like 5 to 10. It's a big old range, but to me it makes sense. Especially, let me see Cardano's FTV. Cardano's at 10. I guess Cardano's at 15. I guess what I'm wondering is, does Cardano, I don't want to say pivots because they can't or whatever, but like, could Cardano make it where like, because it's coming from the same team essentially, right? It's like the same what is it? Foundation kind of created Midnight. It's basically a Cardano product. That's my understanding. Could that become the main Cardano like offering? Could it outgrow Cardano? Could Cardano be known as the privacy chain? And when you're, using the privacy part, you're using Midnight. I really wonder. And again, Charles is a really smart dude. So yeah, I think there's a really interesting upside. And just to compare to Zcash market cap or FDV. So 2 bill for Midnight. Yeah, and you got Zcash here, 8.6 bill. I think Midnight's got, and you heard me talk. I don't know enough about it, right? I don't. But what I know in the vibe and the Spidey sense tells me Midnight might be really, 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 really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah. So if I were telling somebody my number one thing I'm looking at and potentially my number one play, it's probably Midnight. And then I might just throw in something like Mute as a little like degen beta play, something like that. Is White Whale on Solana creator coin? It's no. I mean, no. Mikey, Happy New Year, brother. It's okay. It was a meme coin, kind of like, I don't want to say making fun, but it was a meme coin about the White Whale dude who like got wrecked on leverage, and then he CTO'd the token. So I wouldn't call it a creator coin. It's a meme coin, but tokenized off a real dude in a way. Yeah. That's what's funny. A lot of these meme coins are kind of a creator coin already. The creator just has to do something with it that, sets it apart. In his case, controlling supply and, it's got some motion on X. Man, I haven't even skimmed for like new stories, new whatever, but Jupiter Mobile V3 and is a partner with them. Okay, we'll see. Vitalik rocking a Milady again, guys. Cool shit. Cool. I don't know. I think we got a fun year ahead. I do. I'm going to go and say we have, look, I think a Bitcoin all-time high comes this year. I still do. I think that. And anything else in between? I don't know. I almost want to not get in the prediction game, right? I don't fucking know. I do think it's going to be fun. I do think we'll have some plays. And on that note, I've got to come up with some ETH somewhere to go mint that X copy. We got to get that figured out. That's a pressing fucking matter here. Holy cow. All right. I think we can wrap there again. I I want to get more in depth with the, prediction list, and we'll just do that by covering the products here. CJ, interesting. How big of a threat quantum will be? I don't know if you saw, you probably did, but Shaw put out a post saying everybody's wrong about quantum, that it's way further off than we think. And I could probably get with that because I don't know. But he's like, the threat of quantum is so far off. He's talking like 25 plus years off now. And he's a smart dude. So when Shaw says something, I just take it at face value because I know he knows a lot better than I do. But he's saying he's talking to people who are in quantum computing, right? Who would know, and they're like, it's nowhere close. Like quantum's not close. But maybe we learn a lot about it this year too. But yeah, the 4-year cycle. CJ, do you think all-time high for Bitcoin this year? Give me your price prediction for Bitcoin this year, guys. You can give me like a bottom and a top. I'm so curious, man. My range is going to be too big. It'll be stupid. Interesting. Legit quantum experts saying a real threat within 3 years. Yeah, that's so soon, right? So, yeah, dude. Fucking Luna, man. Luna's got Bitcoin at 50 cents. I dig it. I love that we don't have to have predictions, right? Who fucking knows? Who knows? That's probably my biggest lesson of the past year, is knowing that like everybody who's saying it's not even a new thing, but people are giving predictions and are talking bullish and not whatever. Everybody's got a motive for what they're saying, even if it's not like on purpose. But your predictions are motivated by something. And a lot of people talking a big game about Bitcoin because it's in their best interest, from 50 cents to 60K. Damn. Yeah, all I can do is say I believe Bitcoin sees an all-time high this year. So it just means we go above 126, right? I don't know how long we live there. I don't know, but I feel it in my plums that we see that this year. Yeah, would be sweet. Yeah, dude, it would be great. All right, guys, please do this. I'm like, really, go to ethoswarm.ai, sign up. That's it. That's it. That's simple. I can't get over this thing. 100. Jesus Christ, Luna. maybe we get the big old black swan event. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, sign up here. ethoswarm.ai. You're gonna love it. I know this. Follow us at CryptoSlam.io on X. And subscribe. It's CryptoSlam on YouTube. Damn, today's Thursday. Yeah, okay. So live back here tomorrow, same time. Catch up on the news from the past 24 hours. Got to figure out some of the content stuff again. I'm pretty damn sure big change is coming. So I'll keep you guys posted. Guys, enjoy your day. I hope you're off. So enjoy your day. Happy New Year to you guys. We got another one in the books. Fucking phenomenal. Hype to 1K. That'd be sweet. And we will see. Guys, enjoy your holiday. We'll see you tomorrow. And goodbye.